Morning, Donny Walker. Just taking a break, just ported a couple cylinders, having a little coffee. Thought I'd do a quick video and show you how to replace the rope on a 300 series starter. 365, 372, 390, 385, you get it. So if your rope's a bit frayed, you know, starting to get kind of wore out, ready to replace, or broke, you definitely want it replaced. There's nothing worse than being out in the bush and you break a rope. You guys only got so many shoelaces you can use to repair it, eh? Just like Dad years ago in the truck, he said, oh, you can get a lady's pantyhose and put on for a belt if you ever blow a belt on your truck. Well, that was in the day before serpentine belts, eh? Old V belts. Anyways, off topic, sorry. Okay, so here's an old crusty 365 starter. This was actually from Ron's Tree Service. I just had a box full of parts here. Thanks, Ron. How you doing out in Toronto? So anyways, the rope's a little bit shoddy. The spring's still good. You know, it works. But yeah, it needs a new rope. So, first of all, you got a center nut here. Before you take that off, just pull the rope out a bit until you come to the little notch in the pulley here, eh? Put the rope in there and let it retract with the spring so all your spring tension's gone, eh? Let it release all your spring tension, okay? That way when you take it apart, the spring doesn't go boing, and you go, holy crap, how do I put that back together? Seen it a million times. I'm an expert at putting starter springs in. I got super strong hands for it. I can wind up a starter spring off any old saw and put into the cartridge. It's very hard to do. Some people can't do it. Today they have little holders to do it. Okay, so take your center nut out, bolt out, and washer. Set it aside. Now just lift this off. Just watch the spring doesn't fly out. Put your hand kind of underneath it, grab it. Look at that, and it did, eh? So I'm going to show you now how we put the spring back in there if you don't have the little holder. Physically look at, or visually look at the spring, make sure there's no breaks. This one's good, but Husky's been famous for starter springs breaking on 365, 372s for years. Loggers would always pack a couple starter springs with them in the bush. Sometimes they just would go like within a week. It's just weird. They had a lot of breakage. So once you get that kind of back in sort of shape, just set it aside. Okay, we're gonna look at that in a second. Now inside here, where the spring sits down, there's a little post here in the center where it rides, the pulley rides as a bushing. If you're running your saw and the rope wants to come out of the saw, out of the starter when you're running it, usually this pulley is very wore on this post. So just the vibration makes the rope come out, eh? So you want to replace this pulley if it's super wore, eh? You can have a little bit of play there, but not major clunk clunk, okay? Okay, so that's off. Let's just get our rope out, the old rope off. You basically need a 4mm Allen and a set of side cutters and a good old cigarette lighter or a propane torch, whatever you got. Okay, old rope out of the handle. Throw it aside, use it for tying something up. Take the old rope out. 3 feet is the rope length. I said that last night on the video. 3 feet. 3 feet is my arm extended, my right arm, and the rope over to my left shoulder. I've always done it that way and it works perfect. Take your lighter and melt the rope so you got like a little ball there, eh? Just don't touch it, it's very hot. Burnt myself thousands of times on a rope. This end, kind of light it up, make it to a point, okay? So now you can poke it in and feed it into the pulley. So once you got your 3 feet of rope, you've inspected your pulley, the starter part. Now we need to put that spring back in, eh? When the spring comes new, it's got a little round piece of wire around it, a holder. You can just set it on top of the pulley here and just push it in and take the wire off and you're good to go. Still has those two little plastic cartridges that hold the spring. But I'm doing it an old school way right now because it came out and I wanted to inspect it, right? Okay, so take the spring, the outer edge of it, and you're going to make sure it's all unraveled properly first, like I'm not doing here, okay? Good. Okay. Now we'll take the end. Set it in the cartridge like this, so it's in the little holder. And just wind it around with your two thumbs, holding each side of it. And just go counterclockwise with it as you're wrapping the spring into it. You know, this can be pretty easy once you do it lots of times. Or if you let go with your thumbs, it's going to fly out again. And many people try it at home, and they always bring it in. Donny, can you quickly fix my starter? It keeps bringing the thing out. Okay, wind it right in. Okay, alrighty. And it is, okay? So now it's in there. Now take your rope and the little sharpened end. Find a little spot where the rope goes through this pulley. Pull it through that hole. Pull it through. The end that you made a little knob, just take that and give it a little tie up. Just like that. A little, I don't know what you call that. Bowline? I don't know. It's a knot. Okay? Pull it through that hole so that it's just hanging out maybe about a ½ inch. Now wrap your rope around the pulley to almost the end. Leave about 6 to 8 inches out, okay? Put it in that little notch of the pulley here. Okay, that you can, so you can pre-tension the spring. I always put a little bit of lube on this post, so you put a little bit of LPS or WD-40, whatever you got. Now, set the cartridge back on, or the starter pulley. Kind of seat it in there, so you can feel the spring wants to get sprung, eh? Or tensioned up. Now, before you do that, tension it up. Put your bolt back in, or this thing can fall out and your spring is going to go flying. Bolt back in with your washer, bolt in the washer. You don't have to torque it heavy duty, just tighten it up a bit. Now you got it in there. Now you can tension your spring. Three turns of tension is pretty much the magic mark. Let's find out today. 1, 2, 3. Then poke your line through the hole where it would go out of the starter, holding the pulley, or it's gonna snap back at you. You're gonna lose the rope. Now put it into your handle. Sometimes you can put a little pair of pliers here or something to hold your rope. I've done so many, it's pretty easy for me. Tie a knot in your rope up here. I use double knot. Okay, cinch it up. Put it in your handle. Boom, done, good to go. Now, the other rule of thumb is the length of the rope and your tension of your spring. You should be able to fully pull any starter out and come to the end of the rope, not the end of the spring. If you come to the end of the spring, you got this tension too high, you're gonna break the spring almost every time you start it. Not every time, but pretty close. So come out all the way to the end of the rope and back in. You see that? Perfect tension. So 3 feet of rope, 3 turns of tension, pretty much with any starter, on a weed eater, chainsaw, doesn't matter what brand it is. That's the way it works. Keep your saw into it, sticking the ash, rubbing her up. Have a great day. It stopped raining today. It's supposed to rain some more on the weekend, but I am going go-kart racing on Saturday, so see how that goes. Have a great day. Check out the walkersawshop.com online store. Bye now.